Well, hello, everybody, and good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome back to Raw Law Unfiltered with your host, the DUI Guy Plus. Um, I have already had the lovely chance to read some of your comments, and everybody's freaking out. It is not a real photo. I mean, it is a real photo, but it's not really Boozy. My thumbnail maker, God bless him, shout out to you. I told him what I'm going to be doing today, and he's like, "Bro, how about this concept?" And I'm like, that is by far the most fire thumbnail I think I have ever seen in my entire life. So I absolutely it's no, it's a real uniform. It's Prince Harry with Boozy's face glued onto Harry. If you haven't figured that out, I thought it was obvious the minute I saw that. I was even on the phone. Hello. I was on the phone and I shared it, and they were like, "Oh my god, that is hilarious." Um, so it was good. It was really, really good. Rita is like, "Please stop it. This this is nonsense. We can't deal with this." Mm, mm. Okay. So, yeah, why is Boozy the most racist black man? Will somebody please fucking tell me? Um, I don't understand why to this dude everything is about race. Everything he touches is like, yeah, that's a race war. And I'm like, dude, I was choosing the kind of apple I wanted, like green or red or yellow. Yeah, that's a race war. See, you're talking about colors. Oh, okay, man. I had no idea. I mean, this documentary that's going to be premiering on Netflix on the 8th and the 15th in a two-part series. So we got what, 2 days? I don't know. Are you all going to be watching? I don't know if I'm going to be watching. I'll be waiting for the clips. I'll be honest. It's not one of those things where I'm like, you know what? I want to invest time into this. I want to watch this. No, I don't. Um, what is my cat doing? That was a really loud noise. Anyway, I am definitely not going to be watching. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, Boozy makes a what 2.5 second appearance in that trailer, if that, maybe 1.5 second. It is about race. It is about hatred. It is about racism. Like that's all they clipped him saying. Now, the reason this video is titled what it is titled, it actually changed the titles throughout the day. I had a couple of ideas initially, and then I was like, wait a minute, I like chess a lot, and I was like, man, the story of a pawn who failed to become a queen, and then I had to be careful because I was like, because all the boozy crew is gonna come after me, be like, "You are a homophobic piece of shit," blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, fuck. So I got to be careful, Queen. I'm not trying to call him gay. That's not my point. So I think I got the title finally right. Or failed to become a queen. I said, I guess, failed to become gay. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. It is purely on the spectrum of he is a pawn, right? It's a play on words. He is clearly a pawn. Now, what the thing that Boozy doesn't realize, and by the way, we all are, if some of you who are not familiar with Boozy, this is what I know. This is what I know. Back in his heyday, in his prime, like 10 years ago, Boozy went under a pseudonym on the internet, scamming people out of thousands of dollars of cryptocurrency. That's the word on the street. That's what he was doing. After that, he started a series of failed LLCs. He is a master creator of LLCs. Like me, for example, I it's not an LLC anymore. It is now a corporation. But at the time I started it, it was a PLLC, a professional limited liability corporation. Now it's an S corporation for tax purposes. And when I started an LLC. I've had the same LLC for the last what, 10 years, 11 years? I lost count. And then I started another LLC when I started my real estate holdings company, right? So I have two LLCs. They're both in my name, and they're both, I'd like to say, fairly successful. That's it. most people, unless you're like in politics and you're trying to hide money, launder money and stuff like that, or if you're in the drug business, or if you're just trying to scam people, you're not really going to create more than one or two LLCs unless you really are like a professional, trying to bounce from business to business. You're not going to create more than like one or two LLCs in your lifetime, if that. Most people, I think, putting them in the 0 to 2 category. Boozy has been successful, or unsuccessful, I suppose you should say, at creating. He's successful at creating, but also very successful at failing LLCs for, I don't know how many he has his name on. Honestly, I know it's a lot. I know it's a lot. Um, so I'm like, it's not a crime to create LLCs, but the problem is he is misleading people into believing that if you like invest in this, or if you whatever, I am going to like give you a return on your investment or whatever. I don't know what he does, honestly. I have no idea. So finally, a few years ago, he came up with this idea for Bot Sentinel. And I talked about it in my previous stream. For those of you unfamiliar, Bot Sentinel is basically a boozy, blood-sucking leech like technology. How does it work? So imagine if Boozy were to be disintegrated into mechanical parts, right? Like data. If Boozy were to create something of this is the baseline, like this is the Boozy baseline, right? And he's like, this is the baseline upon which I am going to be judging everybody's behavior on the internet. Okay. So first of all, talk about biased. I know people say I'm biased, but I'm biased towards like a certain case or maybe a certain type of person. Sure. Boozy tried to extrapolate this bias into the entirety of the fucking internet, all over Twitter. Okay. He tried to say, this is the baseline, right? He calls himself normal. And then everyone who is like, I don't even know if you can be better than Boozy. Like, it's impossible. Like, he is the baseline, right? You can be better. You can only be worse. And the only question is, how much worse are you? How much disruptiveness do you have in you? This is the terminology that he uses. Like, disruptive, would be like someone who does not align with the Bouzybucks mentality. This is Boozy and you're here. So it's very antagonistic. It's very chauvinistic. It's very look down upon the peasants and the peons, like Boozy is over there towering over you. And he had lackeys at Twitter that said, okay, bring that technology over here. We're going to allow you to implement it into Twitter. And if you chose to partake, you would, I don't know, I've never used it, so I don't know how it works, but I imagine you sign up, you install it, and then it integrates with your Twitter. Now, there were a lot of hosts, there was like a whole host of issues that Boozy has had with that. He has had an issue with some other countries who are saying that, because in order to be able to tell whether or not an individual is a disruptive or not, you have to have access to their tweets. Well, what if they have 10,000, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 tweets? You're not going to read each one individually and then make a determination. This AI needs to be able to harvest that information from Twitter. And some countries, like in the UK, I believe, in Germany, and possibly France, I don't remember all the countries. I know Germany and the UK, I'm pretty sure is for sure. Boozy has been in violation of local data privacy laws, right? So the US, Twitter's all over the world. I know Boozy doesn't like foreigners and foreign intervention. I get that. But I'm sorry, Boozy. Twitter is worldwide. Okay? Too bad, so sad, sucker. You can't limit it to the United States alone. But with that being said, you as a company owner integrating to another company that is worldwide, you can be in violation of certain international laws, and you may not even realize you're violating them. Now, I don't know if his violations were intentional or unintentional. Beautifully Damaged says he's a criminal, and Nate's going to expose him and his cohorts. Nate, you're referring, of course, to Nate the lawyer, who currently has a lawsuit pending against Boozy in New York for defamation. So let's talk about those real quick. Boozy has at least 3, possibly 4 or more, and possibly actually 5. The more I think about it, at least 5 lawsuits and 5 points of pain that are not coming his way. They're already there. The first one is Nate's lawsuit against Boozy for defamation. Okay, so Boozy took a video that Nate did a long time ago, took it out of context, modified it, added a few words, removed a few words, and like glued it together and said, Nate admitted to like planting evidence as a police officer or something like that, something along that nature. I remember because Nate was talking about how because he used to be a police officer, then he was a prosecutor, and now he's in private defense. Well, back when he was a cop, he knew about the dirty cops, and he was talking about the dirty cops. I remember this clip, and Nate said, like, I remember like these cops, and then he said something along the lines of, well, because I knew that shit too. I knew like who the dirty cops are. And Boozy was like, wait a minute. He just admitted to committing a crime. He just admitted to planting evidence. We need to look into like all these cases that Nate the lawyer has done when he was a cop, when he was a prosecutor, blah, blah, blah. Because, all this fabrication, like straight up defamed Nate the lawyer. Like that is open and shut, and Nate is litigating that case right now in New York. Now, parallel to that, there was another gentleman who's actually going to be on the show tomorrow, Jason Goodman. Jason Goodman has sued Boozy also for defamation. Now, Nate is proceeding with a lawyer. Jason Goodman proceeded pro se. He's going to explain tomorrow a little bit more about what he did wrong, what he needs to fix, and all that. And maybe I can shed some light for him as well, hopefully. Also defamed Jason Goodman. Now, the one mistake Boozy did is in 2020 is when he defamed him, in December of 2020. And then in December of 2021, I guess it like resurfaced or something, like, a year ago you did this or blah, blah, blah. And he re-defamed Jason Goodman. And he did it like 1 or 2 days shy of the statute of limitations. And Jason Goodman was like balls to the wall, and he filed, and he's litigating that case now. Now, in both cases, by the way, both defamation cases, Boozy has been avoiding service of process like it's the plague. Like the dude's got fucking coronavirus, and he's just like, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't serve me. He's one of those, right? He can't even accept responsibility for his own actions, which is really depressing. He's like the epitome of an internet troll, but he's taking it to like a whole different level, right? I remember like these trolls when I was a kid, like they were all over the place, but they never truly, they're just, staying in their mother's basement and kind of like living their life. Boozy is just like, I'm out to get you just for the extra clout, which is really fucking disgusting, really disgusting. So those are the two right there. Number 3, we are aware of a filing by it's either the housing association, or I think it's his landlord. His landlord sued him for rent money. He couldn't pay rent, so he had that lawsuit. I don't know if it's still pending or not, but he couldn't even afford his rent for his home, which is really fucking depressing. Or maybe he just wasn't paying. I don't know. Maybe he's just another scummy individual who's just like, well, you want your rent money, you're gonna have to chase me down or evict me or whatever, and then I'll pay at the very last minute, like when the sheriff is knocking on my door and saying you got to get out. Like, okay, I have my rent money. I don't know. Maybe he's one of those. So that's number 3. Number 4 is there's I think somebody did a search. Again, this one I don't know if it's confirmed 100% or not, but I believe he has a bankruptcy filing pending in United States bankruptcy court somewhere in New York. So that's another one. He filed bankruptcy when his girlfriend was getting evicted to stop the eviction. Okay, well, there you go. There's another one. So he's got those 4. And then the 5th one, like I said, he is very well may be in violation of multiple international data privacy laws outside of the United States. most prevalently in Germany. I remember Germany being like at the top of the list because they have completely different laws when it comes to data privacy. And by having bot Sentinel data mine the information about users in order to determine whether or not they are disruptive or boozy like or normal. Apparently, if boozy is the new normal, then please take me to a different country or take me on a different planet. Elon Musk, like, put me on Mars, bro. I don't want to be on this planet if boozy is the new normal, for the love of God. So those are the 5. Now he's also, or this is in the future, and we're going to talk about this more on Friday. His new platform, he's taking Twitter, copying and pasting everything that he likes in Twitter and creating like his own platform, allegedly. Now, the problem, there's so many problems. We're not going to talk about it right now because it is literally a video in and of its own that we're going to do on Friday. Don't forget, tomorrow, Jason Goodman, who's also suing Boozy. Thursday, Nick Rekieta is going to be on the show, the Pope himself. And then Friday, we're going to be talking about that. And then Saturday, you guys want to do another Curious George reading? We can do another Curious George reading or something. So Spoutible is going to be a whole separate topic, but that's in the future. So that's like number 6. The dude is literally swimming in litigation. He's like the black male Amber Heard, you know, nothing against black men, but he's like the most racist black man I have. I have a lot of black friends, and as a Jew, I empathize with a lot of them. I'm like, dude, I actually kind of, I know most people don't. I know I'm white, but I'm really not. You know, like, I understand what you're fucking going through. Like, I feel you on a level that you probably understand, because the shit that you are going through with race, well, I experienced my entire life as a fucking Jew living in the Goyim country. Like, that's the reality. I understand it. I feel it. And they're like, yeah, you get it. You get it. But like, Boozy has no scruples whatsoever. To him, everything is about race. Everything is about politics. Everything is black and white. And I am in shock as to how far he's able to take this shit. I am in shock. And so this is what I've been trying to figure out, okay? And this is what I wanted to discuss with you all today. This Netflix documentary. So Boozy, if you've been paying attention, he has gained an absolutely immense following within the last like 35, 40 days for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is during the election cycle. See, he's very political. He has no money and all the time in the world. I think he just collects enough money from donations to pay his rent. Everything else he just does himself. You know, he's coding away every day. So he has all the time in the world, no money. And what do you do with a person like that? He tweets a lot. He tweets like 50 times a day because he has nothing else to do. He's always in front of a computer. And this is like literally every day if you go back historically. And he was like talking about the democratic process a while back and talking about, you know, not the democratic, but like the Democrats who were fighting for seats in like the House, the Senate, governor, and all that nonsense, right? I don't follow elections. I don't give a shit. Whoever is, they're all, as Lewis Black put it, when you go into that voting booth, you are dealing with 2 piles of shit. The only difference is the smell. So I'm kind of like Claire Best. I'm kind of an independent. I don't subscribe to any, like, are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? No, I don't give a shit about any of it. I'm in my own little world. Okay. So Boozy is not. Boozy is clear. Like, I'm as left comes, right? Race issues. Yeah, absolutely. Let's fucking throw it in everybody's face. You know, monetary discrepancy issues. See, it's always the people who don't have any money who always argue about like monetary issues. It's really fascinating. But anyway, I digress. So he's been apparently naming some things like, oh, they're going to win or they're not going to win. And he just happened to be right. It's not because he's better than all of us. He just guessed correctly. It's a fucking 50-50. Flip a coin, you know, and whatever it lands. So he was right. And somebody in some fucking TV show called him out and was like, Mr. Boozy has been da-da-da. That's all they said. And his following just fucking exploded. Why? Because he was mentioned on national television. Not because he's special, not because he has some amazing information to offer, but he is a pawn, right? The title of this video. He is a pawn. And what do you do with pawns? In a chess game, a pawn is a piece, essentially, that has the potential to become a knight or a bishop or a rook or a queen. The only thing it cannot become is a king, right? You can't have two kings on the same side. But a pawn, if it makes it all the way to the finish line, all the way to the end, to the 8th rank or the 1st rank if you're playing black, you have a chance to turn this pawn into something else. Well, what are pawns used for? To chuck at your opponent in order to gain an advantage, a lot of times in order to sacrifice them, to get a better position. For those of you who are not familiar with the term Harkle, which I literally learned like a week ago, it's the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry together. Apparently it's called Harkle. Don't ask. I don't follow this stuff. I don't get it, but whatever. Bouzy has injected himself into this Harkle duo, not realizing that he is being used. They are squeezing him like a lemon because he's about only as good as they can throw him. That's why he's a pawn. They're literally just chucking him and like, let's see what happens. Like, he's useful now. As soon as we're done with him, he can be discarded. That's what Bouzy doesn't realize yet. Again, this is a process. I'm not saying he's going to be chucked tomorrow or on Thursday or next week. It could take years. It could take months. It could take years. But eventually, people like that who don't have anything to offer other than a blunt opinion about a singular subject like racism, like, this is about racism. No, it's not. But they used you in the documentary because they understand that you are a one-track mind individual with no brain and no capacity for reasoning. And you are very useful to people like the ones who are making the documentary and possibly Meghan and Harry or whatever, because you don't have the capacity for critical thinking. And when you don't have the capacity for critical thinking, you simply can be used and exploited to the maximum of their ability. And then as soon as they're done using you, they're just going to put you back, or worse, chuck you and start spreading things about you like you did on Jason Goodman. Jason is going to come on and he's going to say that Bouzy made up allegations against him, that he sexually assaulted another individual, which Jason Goodman says never happened. It was some model, by the way. And that post has since been deleted. Like, all the evidence has been discarded. They just kind of threw it out there like, yeah, that happened. And can we move on now? I don't want to linger on this because I don't have any proof. That's what Bouzy did to Jason. Jason's going to talk about that tomorrow. Jason may or may not. I still have to have a talk with him to see. He has some new information about the lawsuit. We got to be careful because of the legality of the lawsuit. I can kind of, with my lawyer brain, we can sift through what is and what is not relevant and what is and should not be talked about. Because again, the legal process is very, very sensitive, and you got to be careful what you say and what you don't say. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to lie. I just feel that Bouzy feels very powerful right now, and he truly is. I'm going to state facts are facts. Bouzy went from a following when I first encountered him of like 60 or 70,000. He's now pushing 500,000 on Twitter alone. Now notice how people like Bouzy, they like to hide on Twitter. You'll never see Bouzy make a YouTube channel because his bullshit, you'll literally be able to smell it through the fucking screen. That's why people like that don't make YouTube videos. They don't make videos at all. They just sit at the computer and, type away. How dare they say, they called me a pundit? I am not a pundit. Have you looked up the definition of pundit, Bouzy? I tweeted about it earlier. I was like, a pundit is just a commentator on like current political, sports, etc. type stuff. That's exactly what you are. You talk about politics for the most part. That's all you really talk about. That and this creation of a social media platform where you allegedly have like 80,000 beta subscribers. I cannot wait to see. I guarantee it's going to turn into one of those like, yes, it is an Aura ring. Cat Yarb. If you all can't see, there's let's see if I can zoom out to show the focus. No, it's not. Doesn't look like it's going to be. Oh, there we go. There we go. There it is. See, it's all technology in there. Man, this should be fucking hashtag sponsored. Should be getting paid for this. But anyway, yeah, it's not. It's titanium and it's got technology inside. It keeps track of like my sleep, my activity, and all that. Yeah, he blocked me too, Waxing. He blocked me too. So go figure. So anyway, the bottom line is Boozy he's riding the high right now. He is larger than life. And literally in the last month, he like quadrupled in followers. And it's only because his name was mentioned on national TV, and now he's in this Netflix documentary. If you go to Social Blade, you will see that there's a huge spike in November, and I imagine there's going to be another huge spike on, is it Thursday, the 8th? Thursday, yeah. There's going to be another spike on Thursday. But the downside to what Boozy does is that he is a blunt object. He is a tool that is going to be either put back in the shed or taken out to the shed, if you know what I mean. Not literally, but eventually that's where these things lead. I see into the future. Why? Because I've been on this planet long enough. I know how these things turn out. I have seen them turn out exactly in the way that I am describing. When you have like a legal commentator or a social commentator or someone who actually has something of value to provide, that gets recycled. You can build a career out of that. Does anybody know what Boozy's has he went to college? Has he gotten a degree? Like, does he have a profession? Is he well read on a certain subject other than just throwing the fucking race card around like, oh yeah, that's racist. Oh yeah, that's racist. That's racist too. Hey, anybody else got more racist shit for me to talk about? I'm here. I'm available all day. How much? It just depends how much you pay me. You got money? How much money? No, I'm not doing that for that. How much you got? You got money? Okay. What do you need me to say? That's racist? You got it. Oh, that's racist. Okay, pay me now. Thank you. Like, does he have a degree? Reparations now, reparations forever is Boozy's motto. It's possible. It's possible, Elizabeth. I don't know. It smells like it, right? Has he read Curious George, or has he been watching the DUI Guy Plus read it for him? Because I don't know. I don't know if Boozy knows how to read, honestly. So, and again, it's not. I'm not trying to be a dick here. I know it probably is coming off that way, but I'm trying to be. I'm being honest. I'm being sincere about how I feel and how I see into the future this is going to turn out. He's more than just a pundit. Or excuse me, he's less than a pundit. He's being used as a pawn, and he just doesn't see it yet because right now he's riding a high. He's riding a very high wave, and he's on top of the world. And you know what? Good for him. Let him do his fucking thing. I don't give a shit. He does his thing. I do my thing. You do your thing. I'm in the live and let live category of life. I don't give a shit. Whatever you do behind your closed doors, as long as you're not hurting somebody else. So I do have an issue with Boozy when he's hurting other people and stealing their money or misleading them. I cannot wait. We're going to talk about this. Like I said, we're going to talk about this more on Friday about his lawsuit with Bot Sentinel. So don't forget, tomorrow, Jason Goodman. Thursday, Nick Rekieta. Friday, Bot Sentinel and Spoutible, potential copyright issues. Saturday or Sunday, we're going to do a Curious George read. And then on Monday, we're going to have Jesus, the language expert, join me on this show. So thank you all for joining me. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, join on as a member, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.